Hey everyone, I miss you. We're going to continue with lesson 3, and this is part 2. Okay, so first thing we're going to look at, if you remember last time, we looked at the coordinates on the unit circle. Well, this time we're going to start off with just refreshing your memory that anytime you want to know if a point is on a graph, of a function, or not even, doesn't have to be a function, like circle is not a function, but you're always going to just replace your x and your y value into your equation to see if it works. Okay, if it ends up being a true statement. Okay, so for instance, if you recall a line, for instance, if you have a line like y equals 3x minus 2, okay, and you're going to see if the point uh, 2, 4 is on that line, you would replace your x and your y. 4 equals 3 times 2 minus 2, and that would be 6 minus 2 is 4, and that works, so that means this point is on the line. Whereas if you put, for instance, checking for 2, 5, that wouldn't work, right? Because 5 would not be equal to 3 times 2 minus 2. All right, so we're going to do the same thing with an equation on the unit circle. We know that the equation of the circle is x squared plus y squared equals 1. You can see the diagram over there. Okay, so that those 7 boxes are just 1 unit, so that's just a unit circle. And we're asked to verify that the equation is true for both of these points. Now you can kind of see at -1, 0, which is this point over here, that really is on the circle, and you can kind of see that, but just to make sure it's exact, we would go ahead and replace that. So we have the x squared plus y squared equals 1, and we have this is our x and this is our y. So we're going to go ahead and substitute that in and see, is that a true statement or not? Well, -1 squared is 1, 0 squared is 0, so 1 does equal 1, so we are verifying that that is in fact on the unit circle. Going on to the next one, we're going to do the same thing. We have 1/2 squared plus the square root of 3 over 2 squared equals 1, and we're checking that out. Does that work or doesn't it work? Okay, so 1/2 squared, remember you're really just squaring the numerator and the denominator, 1 squared and 2 squared, so you get 1/4, plus, now remember the square root of 3 squared is just 3, and then 2 squared for the denominator is 4. And 1/4 plus 3/4 is in fact equal to 1, so we verified that as well. All right, so let's go ahead and move down. Now, this is the same type of question, but just worded a little bit differently. We're given that x is equal to 3/5. So I don't know exactly where 3/5 is. It's about, I'm going to say it's around here. And we want to know, if we were to draw our line here, we want to know what these points could possibly be. Okay, so find all the possibilities for the y coordinate for this point. Well, since we know that on the unit circle, x squared plus y squared equals 1, we can just replace the x squared with 3/5 squared. We don't know what our y squared is. That's what we're looking for, but it is equal to 1. So we're going to go ahead and square this, and we get 9/25 plus y squared equals 1. Subtract the 9/25 from both sides, and we get y squared is equal to 16/25. Remember, when you're subtracting it from 1, that's really 25/25, which would be 1, minus 9/25. But you could do that in your calculator as well. And then you're going to go ahead and take the square root of both sides. And remember, when you take the square root of both sides, you get a plus and minus 4/5. Okay, so that means this would have to be a positive 4/5, so that would be 3/5, 4/5, and this here would be 3/5 minus 4/5. Okay, and that's how you would get your answer.